Have you ever felt like your days are getting shorter, yet your list of aches, duties, and worries keeps growing longer? Maybe you used to bounce out of bed with excitement, but now you wake wondering how you'll find the energy or motivation to fill the hours ahead. It's easy to slip into a routine where you give so much to others, family, friends, even acquaintances, that you forget to save a little for yourself. Especially after 70, life can feel like it's running away if you don't pause and tend to your own needs. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. 5 self-care rituals that can spark renewed energy in your body and a sense of self-worth in your heart. The idea of self-care might sound like a luxury, but think of it this way. You wouldn't let your car go without an oil change or your favorite houseplant go without water. You're just as worthy, actually far more so, of that thoughtful upkeep. These rituals won't demand a complete life overhaul. They're simple, personal acts that remind you how precious and capable you still are. Even if you're the kind of person who's always putting others first, I invite you to consider the possibility that tending to yourself isn't selfish. It's a kindness to the world, because when you feel steadier and happier, you have more to offer everyone else. A perfect starting point is to set aside a brief sanctuary of quiet time each morning. You might find yourself thinking, mornings are already hectic, I can't add more. But this ritual can be as short as 5 minutes. Imagine waking up, sitting by a sunny window or at the kitchen table and simply breathing. Let your coffee or tea warm your hands while you close your eyes, taking slow inhales through your nose and gentle exhales through your mouth. Perhaps you give silent thanks for a comfortable bed, or the fact that a new day has arrived, or a skill you've acquired over the years. This little practice isn't about emptying your mind of all thoughts, but rather letting them settle. As you mentally sift through them, you might notice tension draining from your shoulders. If you feel a bit restless and unsure what to do with the silence, try whispering a short affirmation, something like, "Today, I honor my own well-being," or "My life still holds wonderful surprises." The words aren't magic spells. They're gentle nudges reminding you that your happiness matters. That sense of calm and tension can linger throughout the day, making it easier to handle any unexpected annoyances. A phone call that runs too long or an ache in your knees when you step outside. It's almost as if you're fortifying yourself with a small shield of peace before the day's bustle begins. While that morning moment fosters emotional clarity, let's also talk about a second ritual that focuses on your body. As you move past 70, it's common to feel more fatigue or stiffness, so consider integrating simple, energizing stretches whenever you notice yourself drooping. You might stand up and roll your shoulders backward a few times, or gently tilt your head side to side to loosen tight neck muscles. If you prefer a seated approach, place your hands on your lap, and upon a slow inhale, arch your back slightly, then exhale and round your spine gently. Some people call that a cat-cow movement adapted for a chair. It brings new life into your spine and releases pockets of tension that build up from day-to-day tasks. These small stretches can be sprinkled throughout the morning or early afternoon, whenever you sense your energy flagging or your posture slumping. An important note: the goal isn't to break a sweat or show off your flexibility. Instead, it's a mindful approach that says, I respect my body's limits while also encouraging it to stay mobile. Over time, these small movements can add up to a big difference in how you carry yourself. Tasks like reaching for something on a high shelf or climbing a couple of stairs at home might feel easier. And with that physical ease often comes a subtle boost in self-esteem, an affirmation that your body, while changed from decades ago, is still capable and strong in its own unique way. Now that we've explored a morning practice for emotional grounding and a mini movement ritual to uplift your body, we can continue discovering more ways to nurture yourself through everyday actions. These self-care habits won't ask you to be someone you're not. Rather, they'll invite you to appreciate the person you are right now, wise, experienced, and fully deserving of renewed energy and self-worth. Moving forward, it might help to think of this next self-care ritual as a way to nurture your inner spark, the part of you that thrives on creativity, discovery, or even a bit of playful curiosity. After 70, it's easy to assume you've tried everything worth trying. But that mindset can quietly dampen your zest for life. Consider setting aside a short window each week, maybe half an hour on a Tuesday morning or Thursday afternoon, to explore something that piques your interest and feels a little out of the ordinary. It doesn't need to be a grand project. It could be as simple as sketching the view from your window, writing a few lines in a personal journal, or even learning a new card game online. The key is to let this time be yours alone, free from guilt or the pressure to be good at whatever you choose. Some people find solace in painting small watercolors even if they never share them with anyone else. Others might take pleasure in rummaging through old photos and making a digital album, noticing how memories spark new reflections. If you're more of a hands-on person, maybe you'll try your hand at tinkering with a simple DIY craft, like making your own greeting cards. What matters is that you're allowing yourself to follow a tiny spark of interest, rather than dismissing it with thoughts like, "I'm too old for that," or "I'm not talented enough." Creativity can be deeply restorative. Even if you produce something that looks clumsy, the act of exploring and expressing can invigorate your mind and heart, reminding you that there's still so much within you waiting to be discovered. Another ritual that often lifts spirits after 70 is rediscovering your sense of connection with others, but with a gentle twist. Instead of focusing on large family gatherings or noisy social events, you can cultivate small, meaningful encounters on your terms. Perhaps there's a neighbor you trust who would enjoy sharing a cup of tea once a week, or a friend across the country who'd love a short video call every Sunday afternoon. These personal interactions, held in a calm setting, can rejuvenate you more than you'd imagine, because they're based on genuine curiosity and care rather than the pressure of a big event. You might be surprised how much warmth lingers after a quiet 30-minute conversation about the books you're reading or the flowers you noticed in bloom. If you hesitate because you're worried about imposing on someone's schedule, think of it this way. Many of us love feeling helpful or included. By inviting a friend or neighbor to connect, you're often doing them a kindness as well. They might be craving the same sense of closeness. Plus, these little meetups can be flexible. Some days you might be up for a walk around the block together, chatting as you admire the houses or gardens in your neighborhood. On others, you might prefer simply talking inside, safe from any weather extremes. The essence remains the same: fostering genuine, low-key companionship that doesn't drain you, but instead replenishes that sense of belonging we all crave. These two rituals, tapping into a spark of creativity and fostering small, sincere connections, work beautifully alongside a regular morning reflection and mini movement breaks. You can sense how they each address different layers of your well-being, from physical vitality to emotional nourishment. It's much like tending a garden. You don't water only one type of flower and let the others wilt. You sprinkle a bit here, a bit there, ensuring all aspects of your life have a chance to flourish. When you grant yourself permission to be creative, to move gently, to soak in a morning calm, and to share heartfelt moments with another person, you're actively weaving a supportive net beneath your everyday routine. Over time, these practices can quietly reshape how you feel about yourself. Maybe you'll notice less of that nagging self-doubt, replaced by a subtle pride in what you've created or shared. You might find yourself waking with a little smile on your face, ready to see if you can mix a new color for your painting, or to ask your neighbor about that mystery plant you both spotted by the fence. It's not about revolutionizing your entire life in one go. Rather, it's about introducing manageable, soul-feeding rituals that remind you of your value, your curiosity, and the connections you hold in this world. When you see these changes in your own behavior and attitude, it can inspire you to try even more things that nurture you. Perhaps you'll decide to revive an old hobby from decades ago, or gather the courage to learn a skill you've admired from afar. Each positive experience becomes a stepping stone toward heightened energy and a deeper sense of self-worth. The difference might feel subtle at first, like a soft breeze in the air rather than a sudden gust, but over weeks or months you'll realize you're living with more lightness and purpose. And that feeling is precisely what these self-care rituals are all about. Having introduced these next two ideas, we can continue exploring additional rituals that keep your inner well of vitality and confidence brimming, no matter what age you've reached. Because truly, the journey to feeling good in your own skin and mind is something that can blossom at any stage of life. Flowing from these ideas, there's one more self-care ritual that can truly anchor your sense of energy and self-worth: the practice of genuine gratitude. It might sound like an old cliche, count your blessings, but in reality, gratitude works like a quiet beam of light, illuminating parts of your life you might overlook when you're feeling tired or unimportant. After 70, it's easy to get caught up in what's changed or what's been lost. You might worry about ailments, missed opportunities, or the people who aren't around anymore. Yet even amidst those valid concerns, there are fragments of everyday beauty. Familiar voices, a comforting aroma drifting from the kitchen, a memory that still warms your heart. Consider setting aside a few minutes each evening to reflect on 2 or 3 small details that made the day a bit brighter. Perhaps you savored an unexpectedly sweet peach with lunch, or glimpsed a vibrant sunset that reminded you how nature carries on in quiet majesty, or simply appreciated the fact that your legs felt steady enough for a short walk. Writing them down, either in a little notebook by your bedside or even on a scrap of paper, can deepen the effect. When you acknowledge these positive moments, no matter how modest, you're reminding yourself that life remains a tapestry of good things interwoven with its challenges. Over time, this gentle ritual can shift your perspective from focusing on what you lack to noticing what you still have. And in those moments when life feels overwhelming, you can flip through past entries, rediscovering that morning your neighbor surprised you with fresh tomatoes, or the evening you laughed so hard at a funny story your grandchild told. These memories become like stepping stones across a turbulent river. They don't erase hardships, but they help you tread more confidently. You might be surprised at how quickly a wave of gratitude can lift your mood, even if it doesn't solve every problem. Sometimes feeling more grounded is enough to keep going. By now, you've encountered 5 rituals: a morning reflection for calm and purpose, brief stretches or movements to energize your body, exploring your creativity to spark curiosity, forging small but meaningful social connections, and finishing the day with a quiet gratitude practice. Each one addresses a different layer of who you are: your mind, body, heart, and relationships. If you weave them together in your own style and at your own pace, they can form a soft, sturdy foundation beneath your daily life, ensuring that energy and self-worth don't slip through the cracks. As you experiment with these ideas, notice how they might complement each other. Maybe starting the day with 5 slow breaths gives you the centeredness to try a new watercolor sketch in the afternoon. After that small creative spark, you feel more motivated to pick up the phone and check on a friend, someone who often makes you laugh. Then in the evening, you find yourself smiling again, writing in your gratitude journal about how fulfilling it felt to share that conversation. None of these activities are flashy or complicated, yet each offers a reminder that you're living a day shaped by choice, not by the inevitability of exhaustion or disconnection. And what if you find yourself missing a day, or even a week? Life happens. Don't let guilt or all-or-nothing thinking sabotage you. Simply return to whichever ritual resonates most in that moment. Maybe you've had a rough day physically and can only manage 2 minutes of slow, gentle breathing. Well, that's still self-care. Perhaps socializing feels too taxing right now, so you focus on creativity or journaling. The beauty of these rituals is that they're flexible. They don't rely on perfect conditions to offer you comfort. Even if your circumstances limit you physically, maybe climbing stairs or driving at night is no longer feasible, self-care isn't off the table. It's in the subtle acts of honoring your body's needs while nurturing your spirit. A small, seated stretch can replace a vigorous walk. A video chat with a loved one might stand in for an in-person gathering, and a mental journey through cherished memories can brighten an otherwise quiet afternoon. What matters is your willingness to adapt lovingly rather than giving up. And in that willingness, you reaffirm your inherent worth. You remind yourself that aging doesn't have to equate with fading away from life's goodness. Instead, it can be a time of reflection and gentle growth. where each day brings its own possibility for warmth and connection. When you see how these small rituals make you feel, more alert, more content, more in tune with the world, you might realize that self-care isn't selfish at all. It's a gift, not just to yourself, but to everyone who shares in your improved energy and uplifting presence. As we finish this conversation, I encourage you to think about one ritual from this discussion that feels the easiest to try. Maybe the nightly gratitude reflection, or the quick morning calm session. Give it a fair chance for a few days and see if your spirits don't begin to lift. If they do, add another ritual or modify the first to make it even more personal. Over time, you may find that you've crafted a powerful blend of daily habits, ones that gently restore your vitality and renew your sense of who you are. If you feel inspired, please share your experiences in the comments. Did a particular ritual surprise you with how it boosted your mood? Did you think of a creative twist that others might want to try? Your journey might encourage someone else, someone who needs a reminder that life's brilliance can still shine through at any age. And if you found value in this video, go ahead and like it, and consider subscribing for more insights tailored to seniors seeking a vibrant, fulfilling life. Because, after 70, your life story still holds chapters you haven't written yet. May these self-care rituals pave the way for pages filled with renewed energy, steady self-worth, and plenty of heartfelt moments that make each day worth savoring. As we draw our conversation to a close, there's something important worth emphasizing. Your worth and potential don't suddenly fade after 70. In fact, these later years can become a profound chapter of self-discovery and renewal if you let them. Each new day offers a small invitation to experiment with how you nurture yourself. Whether it's through a moment of quiet reflection, a few gentle stretches, a spark of creativity, a friendly visit, or a grateful pause at day's end. These rituals aren't meant to be another chore on your to-do list. Rather, they're delicate reminders that you are still very much alive, with unique contributions and experiences to share. Maybe you've been hesitating to adopt even a small change, worried it might feel unnatural or too late. It's never too late to find comfort in your own company, or to appreciate the subtle wisdom your years have granted you. If you find yourself thinking, "I've never been a morning person," or "I'm not talented enough to create anything," you might be surprised. Sometimes allowing yourself a gentle, "why not?" can break through old assumptions. A quiet, morning ritual can calm a mind that's grown restless, and a creative outlet can lighten a heart that's seen so many of life's ups and downs. There's also the reality that you might feel alone in your journey. Perhaps your spouse or close friends aren't as motivated to embrace these self-care practices, or your family doesn't quite understand. That's okay. You don't need everyone else to validate the importance of your well-being. Over time, people around you may notice a change in your demeanor, perhaps a bit more patience, a softer glow of contentment, and become curious themselves. Or they might not notice, and that's okay too. Self-care at its core is about acknowledging your own humanity and uniqueness, not proving anything to others. If you find old doubts resurfacing, like, what difference can these little rituals really make? Remember that even an ocean is composed of individual drops. The small moments add up, weaving a sense of stability throughout your week. The day you skip or forget one of your rituals, you might feel slightly off balance, like missing a friendly face in a familiar place. That in itself can reaffirm how meaningful these practices have become, subtly guiding you back to them. You may discover as you explore new possibilities that your perspective on aging shifts. It's less about what you can't do and more about what you can still do, and do well, with grace and mindfulness. Even if your joints protest certain movements, there's often an alternative approach to find joy in the day. Even if your circle of friends isn't as large as it once was, you can savor the connections you do have, and, who knows, perhaps make a new one through a shared interest or online community. These are the gentle expansions of life that don't hinge on youth, but on a willingness to remain open and curious. Taking the time to nurture your body and spirit also shows respect for the many obstacles you've already navigated. You've endured chapters of life that might have included raising children, building careers, nursing illnesses, celebrating love, or grieving losses. Why not honor all that experience with some tender daily affirmation of your continuing value? No matter how old you are, your feelings matter, your comfort matters, your sense of worth matters. If at any point you feel uncertain or stuck, remember you don't have to figure everything out alone. Talking to a neighbor, joining a small online support group, or seeking advice from a counselor or healthcare professional can help clarify what feels right and what doesn't. The key is to keep that gentle vow to yourself that you deserve moments of peace, moments of playfulness, and moments of connection with others, even if they come in unexpected forms. You might also decide to extend these self-care habits by adding personal touches. Perhaps you set your morning tea in a special cup that makes you smile, or create a cozy corner by a window for your stretches. Maybe you keep a small vase of flowers where you do your journaling, to remind yourself that life, like those blossoms, can be vibrant at every stage. Such details turn a mere routine into a comforting ritual, one that you can look forward to, day after day. If you feel inspired to share your own experiences or adaptations of these rituals, you're welcome to do so in the comments. Your story might just spark an idea for someone else who's feeling a bit tired or unsure. And if you found this discussion uplifting, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content focused on making these golden years truly shine. Because ultimately, self-care isn't about adding tasks to your life. It's about creating a gentler, more compassionate environment for yourself. One in which you can breathe freely, explore interests old and new, and embrace the relationships that nourish you. One in which you wake up with a calm assurance that you still have a lot to bring to your own life and to the lives of those around you. Here's to nurturing that spark of hope and vitality inside you and watching it flourish in simple daily acts of care. And here's to remembering that life doesn't stop giving you reasons to smile, so long as you're open to seeing them.